you were saying something about changing the word
As
is the example
as per
of running away.
changing the word, it's the example of flight. Right? We're running away from the difficulty of stammering. Suppose we stammer, so we realize that there is a there is proper word. Then we'll say and by saying this, we'll change the word. So I think it
Yes.
is like I think.
You're very right. You're very right. When we when we decide not to say that word, we are running away from that word.
Now we will say
So that,
something like humming, as we are remembering the thing and we'll change the word.
yes. So that is a example of running away from the difficulty. So that is flight. Flight matlab flying away, running away from the problem. So going in a block and struggling with excessive uh, secondary reactions, secondary behaviors like blinking of eyes, or face crumpling up. I mean, experts say that that when you that secondary that this facial secondary behavior, secondary behavior on face is the proof that excessive force is being applied. The evidence that the excessive force is being applied. अभिषेक, आपने वीडियो देखा है? 2 वीडियो? हाँ, अभिषेक।
नो सर।
अच्छा, ठीक है, तो आप लॉग आउट कर लीजिए, आप वीडियो देख लीजिए, देख के फिर वापस आइए। बहुत लंबे वीडियो नहीं,
ओके।
छोटे वीडियो है।
बिल्कुल।
So flight response, flight response is this, that whatever we do to avoid saying the word or postpone saying the word. Sometimes we use filler sounds to postpone saying that word. I used to do that with Allahabad, because I had done my medical training from Allahabad. And whenever somebody said, "Where did you do your graduation, medical graduation?" And I say, "Well, I did my MBBS from a very old city." And it's called Allahabad. So postponing difficulty also is a kind of flying away, running away from difficulty. So using filler words, using well, let me think. So sometimes I should do that also. Let me think, as if I have forgotten where I have done my MBBS from. And that, of course, is nonsense. How can you forget where you spent 5 years and studied and got your professional degree? Can
I share, sir? Can I share one same thing with you?
Yeah, go on.
So
Yes.
I did my BTech in pharmaceutical
Yes.
health, agriculture engineering. Okay. And
Okay.
so when I went to my hometown, so when I was in the first year, so I get down from bus and someone asked
Okay.
me, "तुम क्या कर रहे हो? क्या करते हो? What you are doing?" So that BTech, I was not able to pronounce BTech. So block was there,
Yes.
B, B, B. So I pronounced BTechs. So BTechs Malam is there.
BTech
So there
Mallam.
is,
This ointment.
so that word has become so famous that everyone was calling by that name to BTech. He is doing BTechs. So both में हंस के I am sharing this with laughing, but both, but it was very painful.
Yes. So when we are using some kind of smart technique to postpone saying the word, we are using this flight response. Fight response kya tha? The fight response was where we say the word, but we struggle and block. Our hand shakes, or we stamp our feet. So all these muscular actions is a sign of a struggle, fighting.
Sir, Sonam is waiting, it seems, in the...
Let me find out from Sahil. Sahil, start your video and tell us a little bit about yourself. Is it your first meeting? Sahil.
Hello, sir. Yes, it is my first meeting.
Okay.
So uh, today, I am Sahil Salgaonkar from Goa, and I am associated with TISA uh, from last 6 months, and I have completed my graduation from Goa only, and now I am preparing for uh, higher studies.
Okay. Uh, Sahil, did you see these videos which we are discussing today?
No, sir.
Okay. Try and see these videos, because when we discuss them, it will become easy for you to understand if you have seen them in advance. Okay. So some people have seen this. So we will divide in breakout rooms soon and discuss these things further. Okay. So these two ideas are very clear now. When we fight our stammering, there's excessive muscular overreaction. Eyes blink, head twists because muscle is pulling this side, hands start jerking. So there's suddenly a lot of muscular activity because struggling means muscular action. You are fighting something off. And flight is when you're running away from something. And we discussed about that running away means when you postpone saying a difficult word, using some clever trick or whatever, using filler sounds, or saying that, okay, let me think. So I did my MBBS from college. I did it from Mahamana Madan Mohan Malviya College. So,
I mean,
or the yes, go on. Yes.
I had a very similar experience. I mean, ordering lunch from restaurant. So instead of saying lunch, I said it in Tamil full word, and they started thinking like they asked me immediately whether I am from Sri Lanka because it's like yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it happened very recently actually.
Yes. So this happens when we are trying to run away from the difficulty. So fight and flight we have covered, and now let us talk about freeze. What happens in the freeze response? One of the signs of freeze is there's excessive fear. It's only because of excessive fear that everything gets paralyzed. We can't move. We can't utter a single sound. मतलब शब्द बोलना तो दूर की बात है, गले से आवाज भी नहीं पैदा हो रही। ऐसा भी नहीं कर पा रहे हो आप, आवाज ही नहीं आ रही गले से। तो दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ फ्रीज रिस्पॉन्स। और फ्रीज रिस्पॉन्स को समझने का एक तरीका ये है, हैज एनीवन एवर नोटिस दैट व्हेन यू गेट अप इन द मॉर्निंग, as you become aware that there is light in my room, for a couple of seconds you can't move your body. You are conscious, but your body is not under your control. You are not able to move your body. You can't turn, you can't get up. It happens only for a couple of seconds. And you need to be very observant to understand this. So has anyone ever seen this? That when their eyes open up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whenever, 6 a.m., uh, their eyes are receiving light, their eyes are sensitive to light, and their eyes and their brain is working. You become aware that, okay, I'm in my bedroom, I'm lying in my bed, but you want to move your right leg and you can't move your right leg. Has it ever happened to anybody? Please raise your hand. So describe that experience, please, for all of us.
Sonam, you would want to go?
No, I think Vidya, you should go
Vidya, I
ahead.
can go after you.
Okay, so I have had very often this experience, not because when I get up, I have this, because I always have it. I mean, not always, very frequently, sleep paralysis, where I can understand what is happening around. My eyes are, I mean, I feel like everything I can see, but then I cannot move my hand. I cannot move my legs. It's like somebody has pinned me to the bed. So
Yes.
that kind of.
Yeah. So it happens to every one of us that for a few seconds there is a kind of paralysis of the body. You can't move your body. So in freeze response, also something like similar is happening there. That the teacher says, "You get up. What's your name?" You suddenly stand up and you just can't say. So that is freeze response. I will request Study Cube to change his screen name. Study Cube.
Okay, sir.
ये बैकग्राउंड नॉइस कहाँ से आ रही है? शिवम जरा म्यूट कर लेना. हाँ. Okay. So that is the example of freeze response as applied to stammering. Suddenly there's too much of fear, and suddenly you just cannot say anything. You cannot even start phonation. Saying your name Satyendra is a distant cry, is too far away. You can't even start phonation. You can't even set up a little vibration here. Nothing is happening. Everything is frozen, is paralyzed, so that is the example of a freeze response in the context of stammering. Like when a child sees a snake, it just becomes frozen. और दूर खड़े लोग उसको देखिए पर वो कहते रहते हैं कि डंडा उठा के मारो सांप को, भाग जाएगा, जूता फेंको उसके ऊपर, या खुद तुम खड़े कुर्सी के ऊपर खड़े हो जाओ. लेकिन बच्चों को उस समय कुछ सुनाई नहीं पड़ रहा है, उसे डंडा दिखाई नहीं पड़ रहा है. There is example of freeze response in the context of seeing a snake, actual physical threat. But in the case of stammering, the threat is internal. The threat is in our own head. हमको लग रहा है कि we are being judged, and if I stammer, then the whole world will gang up on me. So the stimuli or the threat is inside our own head. We are creating it, and we are also reacting to it. And this is the whole phenomena of fight, flight, and freeze in stammering. So let me put everybody in 3 groups, or 2 or 3 groups, and then you can. I think I should put them in 2 groups, because then one group Dr. Vijay can facilitate, and the other group Vidya can facilitate, and they can explain this idea to others. Okay, Vidya, so you have to explain to them. You can take the help of others who know Hindi and English both. तो पहले ग्रुप में in the first group I am putting Dr. Vijay, Yogeshwari, and Arham, and Sahil, and right. And in the second group I am putting Vidya, Sonam, Shubham, Vishu, and Divyanshi. I will also join this group in case if there's any language problem. So we have to discuss these 3 responses in the context of stammering. कृष्णा रूम नंबर 1 में ज्वाइन कर लेना.
Eyes, and we do all kind of expressions in our face to say that word out. So that is what is fight response towards stammering. Yeah. So that is fight response. The flight response is where we avoid saying a word or replace the word or like postpone saying the word. All those things comes under flight response. Yeah, using fillers or like completely changing the word
Changing the
altogether.
sentence.
Yeah, exactly. Changing the language sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is flight response. Freeze is where we get complete block in the way we speak, where we have a paralysis, feel like it's a paralysis, like we cannot utter even a single word. That becomes the freeze response to stammering. Yeah. You are
Sir,
muted, sir.
you are
Very
on
well,
mute.
very well explained. Let us now talk a little bit more about flight response, flight running away. What are the other examples of running away? When people running away from a feared bird, what all do they do? Of course,
Sir,
they change the word, they change the language.
yeah,
पानी में हिंदी में बोलना था मुझे पानी चाहिए, मगर पानी को
yeah,
वाटर बोल दिया. ये सब किया.
yeah.
और पानी
Sometimes
का जो
we,
हाँ,
yeah, sometimes we substitute the word or we, yeah. So we have known, yeah. Go ahead, Vidya. Go ahead.
No, sometimes we completely avoid that situation itself, coming and talking. Yeah, that is one avoidance.
It's a high level avoidance. For example, it's a high level avoidance. For example, your principal says ki, okay, I'm going to give a award to the best best students, and Satyendra, you also are one of the best students, so come to the function tomorrow and we'll give you the best student award. But I know that when I go there I may have to speak 2 lines, and so therefore I just don't go to the class itself, to the college that day. You just don't go to the venue itself. You see your uncle coming on the road, and if I very soon he'll be meeting me and he'll say, beta kaise ho, kya chal raha hai, tumhari padhai kaise chal rahi hai. He will ask me 10 questions and I'll be blocking on every word. So you simply change the pavement. While he's half a mile away, you cross over to the other side of the road. Or you simply enter a shop and start browsing at things, so that uncle goes away and you don't have to talk to him. So this is a very high level avoidance. So the low level avoidance is that you don't say that word. You translate that word, or you use a synonym, which more or less means same thing, but doesn't have the same effect. But still you say, chalo, chalta hai. I will use some other related word. But this is also a avoidance, that when you refuse to go to that venue, when you refuse to meet that person, this also is avoidance. What else can you think of as example of शिवम, मैं आपको म्यूट कर रहा हूँ, जरा नॉइज आ रही है आपके बैकग्राउंड में. तो what else can you think of as example of flight response? Go on, Sonam.
Sir, in my college time, I have joined English speaking class, and I have paid 7,000, and 3-4 classes. I went to the class, and we have the grammar session. And after that, the teacher announced ki from you have to prepare on the topic, and you have to give the speech. And that day was my last class in the academy. I have never asked for the fees refund or anything. I just like, so I was very afraid कि सबको पता चल जाएगा I am stammer.
अगर तीसरा एनसी ने फीस ली होती तो आप रिफंड मांगते. लेकिन आपने वहां पे रिफंड नहीं मांगा.
Sir, that time I used to think stammering is something which makes me feel inferior, which makes me inferior. So how can I tell someone कि I am a stammerer or I want referred due to this stammering?
ठीक है, अच्छा, और कोई एग्जांपल हो सकता है अवॉइडेंस का या रनिंग अवे का, दिव्यांशी?
In my college, there is lots of societies. I want to join them, but I think if I go to the interview, I'm stammering. Why should they choose me? And that's why I fill the form, but I don't go because I think they can't choose me.
How many students are there in your class, in your batch?
40.
40?
They,
Out of
there
these,
are lots of sections.
yes, right. But out of these
Yeah.
40, how many do you think know that you are facing a speech difficulty?
My friends only.
Two on your friend. What about others? Other 38. You think they don't know?
I think.
I have a hunch that you could be wrong. And the only way to prove or disprove that is to do a little mini survey. So tomorrow you can ask 4 or 5 of your batchmates, what do you think about my speech? Let them react. They might say you speak fine, or they may say you sometimes hesitate a little bit. Somebody might even say you stammer. Are you okay with those kind of responses?
Yeah.
You should be okay, because if somebody told me you don't have hair on your head, I will not have a fit. I will not be shocked, surprised. My BP will not go up or down. My blood sugar will not change. Nothing will happen because I know it's true. And I'm okay
It's
with this
true.
truth, right? So in the same way, you can also be totally okay with that truth, because only when you're okay with that truth that you can do this mini research, right? So do this mini research, because if this mini research shows that more than the people you expect know that you are facing a speech issue, then there is no reason for you to hold yourself back. People already know. So go for these interviews and join societies. Because people already know that she has got some issues, because everybody has got some or other issue. Right? And still all those people must be part of some society or some club or something. So stammering alone is not a disqualification for being part of a club or something. You could be part of the drawing club, painting club, book reading club, writing club, singing club. There are so many clubs where you can happily join. And in fact,
Yes,
there are
sir.
some people who also join debate club. Dr. Amit Bajaj, who helps us with the Zoom, with the TOPG, and who has been volunteering with TISA for a long time. He told me that for a long time he was in Delhi. Till the age of 23, 24, he was in Delhi. He was studying in Delhi. And he said, I was very good with debates, even though I was a stammerer and I used to sometimes block and stammer, and still people used to love me, to have me on their debate team, because they knew that this guy will demolish. He will stammer as much as he wants to, but he's going to prove his point. And so he was in debate team. So therefore, I want to say, don't think that stammering holds you back from anything. It's all your own mind. In your mind, you have made up these funny notions, funny ideas that, well, I'm a woman, so I can't do this. I'm a stammerer, so I can't do this. For a long time in North India, we used to think that a woman cannot be a bus driver, or she cannot be a petrol pump attendant. But go to South India, they are doing all those things. In North India also, they are. So women are driving trucks. They are the petrol pump attendants. They are doing all kind of things. They are a lot of examples. So, so, but we used to have these funny notions, and even the women used to have this funny notion in North India that how can I do this? So So this is what I want to say. Don't hold yourself back, because it is only you are holding yourself. Nobody else is doing this to you. In your old age, you will not have the satisfaction of saying, I could have done this or that if society had not stopped me. Because in old age, you will realize that it was not society which was holding you back. You will not have that kind of satisfaction even. So it is better to, to become free and do these things. At the most, what will happen? They might say, well, we can't take you in this society. So it's okay. But if you would listen to me or to Vidya, you will ask them, why won't you take me? Tell me, give me one reason. ठीक है? मतलब ऐसे चुपचाप हार नहीं मानना यार, थोड़ा फाइट बैक करना है. Fight back, push back. So, okay, so these are the avoidances we do when we are in flight mode. And in fight mode, we struggle. And when we struggle, our struggle reflects on our face, like eye blinking, head going to one side. So what is the lesson here? That we should stop fighting a word. You can fight a snake, you can fight a tiger if you want to. You can fight a scorpion. You can fight a spider. You see a spider in your bathroom, you take the slipper out and smash it. If you want to, you fight a spider. But why fight your own name? Why fight on your name? Why not let it come out easily without fighting? So if I want to say my name Satyendra, and if I am fighting, if I have fallen in this bad habit of fighting my own name, then it would look like this. My name is Satyendra, because I'm fighting. But intellectually and consciously, I can take a decision not to fight. And I can say, I will not fight on my name because my name is not worth fighting. It's name to be glorified. So I can say, my name is Satyendra. And if you notice and analyze, all the techniques which we are talking about are exactly doing this. They are teaching you how to stop fighting on a word. So instead of blocking on your name, Jagdish, we are asking you to just use simple bouncing and say, my name is Jagdish. So when you are allowing yourself to bounce, there's no extra electrical muscular activity here. You're not doing this. You're not blinking. You're not jerking. You're not stamping your feet. You're simply letting your mouth do, because you have removed the fight. In the same way, when you are flying away from your stammering, from the feared word, when somebody says, where do you live? And you say, well, I live in Ghaziabad. Actually, you live in Noida. But you think, Noida, I will not be able to say. और नोएडा और गाजियाबाद में फर्क भी ज्यादा नहीं है. ज्यादा फर्क नहीं है. It's only 20 kilometers perhaps on the border पे, तो वो एकदम पास ही पास है. तो क्या कहाँ रहते हो आप? मैं तो वैसे तो हाँ, मैं गाजियाबाद में रहता हूँ. फिर वो कहते हैं कि अच्छा, मगर आपका ये पिन कोड तो नोएडा का है. हाँ हाँ, मेरा वही मतलब है, नोएडा के वहीं पे रहता हूँ, नोएडा में ही मैं. So when you're doing these things, you are short selling yourself. You are actually a BTech, a postgraduate, or a graduate, a very intelligent person, but you are offering yourself like a dumb guy, like a pathetic dumb guy. Probably he has not even passed class 8. So you are behaving like a class 8th fail kind of candidate. So why are you doing this, this kind of injustice to yourself? So intellectually you can make up your mind that I will not run away from a word, because I know who I am. I'm a intelligent, competent person. So if somebody says, where do you live? I may take an extra minute, but I will say Noida only. I will use a technique. I'll say, I live in Noida. I will never say Ghaziabad. So why I'm teaching these 3 responses? So that you can counter them. Because these 3 responses are okay if you see a snake, a tiger, a mad dog, but they are counterproductive when you use them against a word. It's only a word. think about your hardest word. Ultimately, what it is, it's only a sound, a word. At one time, I could not say my own name. So when I graduated, when I got my MBBS degree, I felt very happy. Everybody said, "Okay, you're very happy because you became doctor." But actually, my real reason was that now I will be able to say my name, because after doctor, I could say anything. So now when somebody says, "What's your name?" I'll say Dr. Satyendra Srivastava. And earlier, 6 months earlier, if somebody says, "What's your name?" I'll say Satyendra. So a time came when even if rickshaw wala asks me, "What's your name?" I'll be saying Dr. Satyendra Srivastava. And rickshaw wala will be wondering, why is he telling me about his profession? मुझे क्या करना है, ये डॉक्टर हो या इंजीनियर हो, ये मुझे क्यों बता रहा है कि मैं डॉक्टर सत्येंद्र? So when we do these kind of thing, we appear dumb. We appear like, either half crazy or dumb or low IQ person. But why should we do that to ourselves? So try to push these intuitive responses away. Fight flight को दूर करो and approach the word using a technique. And freeze response में क्या हो रहा है? What is happening in the freeze? Sonam, what is happening in the freeze response?
Sir, I have experience of freeze response. Can I share? But it is
Yeah,
not related to
go on.
stammering.
Go on.
Okay.
But
Sir,
keep
can I
it
explain
brief.
in the
Keep
yeah,
it
it is
brief.
very brief. It is very
हाँ
brief, but can I explain in Hindi? You will
हाँ
translate
हाँ
with
हाँ,
both.
बोलो बोलो
Okay.
बोलो।
सो आई वॉज इन अ ट्रेन, मैं सो रही थी, तो एक पैसेंजर मेरी आया। जब मेरी आंख खुली तो मैंने देखा कि वो ऐसे करके झांक रहा है। मतलब मैं जब जब मेरी आंख खुली तो पैसेंजर, मैं ऊपर वाली सीट पे थी, और जब मेरी आंख खुली तो ऐसे ही मेरे सामने था वो आदमी, है ना। और मैंने काफी देर ट्राई किया कि मैं चिल्लाऊं, मैं अपने हाथ पैर हिलाऊं, मैं भागूं, मैं कुछ करूं, कुछ भी कर सकूं। मैंने मैंने आई थिंक इट वाज 1 से 2 मिनट थे, मैं ट्राई करती रही, बट कुछ भी मैं मूव नहीं कर पाई। और उसके बाद वो जो आदमी था उसने बोला कि कुछ नहीं, उसने देखा सीट है या नहीं यहाँ पे। और फिर भी मैंने बिना कुछ बोले मैं सो गई। मैं कुछ बोल नहीं पाई।
ठीक है, तो ये हम सबको होता है। और ये तब होता है जब हम व्हेन वी आर वेरी इनएक्सपीरियंस्ड, जब हम बहुत छोटे थे, यंग थे, हमें ज्यादा अनुभव नहीं था। तो बात बात पे हम फ्रीज हो जाते थे। So when you are very young, very inexperienced, then you freeze at everything. You see a beautiful dress and you freeze. You see a beautiful shoe in the market, you freeze. You see a handsome guy, you freeze. A professor looks at you like this and then you freeze. So that keeps on happening because you are so inexperienced. So what is the solution for that? The solution is very simple. Gain the experience of difficulties quickly, rapidly. Put yourself in difficult situations. Do a lot of voluntary stammering. If you do voluntary stammering on phone, in public, very soon this freeze response will go away, because your freeze response is only because you have never been in that situation. You suddenly go to class and somebody says, "What's your name?" And you freeze. Why? Because because you have just gotten into the college. You are only 16 and you have never been asked your name like this. So तभी ऐसा होता है. So the lesson for us is, do a lot of voluntary stammering, do a lot of stranger talk. Then this problem of freeze will go away. Again, with the avoidance, always say, why am I avoiding this? By avoiding, I am passing myself as a dumb guy. इसको ये भी नहीं पता, तो वैसा मैं क्यों कर रही हूँ? मैं अपना टाइम लूंगी, मैं हकलाऊंगी, लेकिन मैं सही वर्ड बोलूंगी, क्योंकि otherwise what happens, people think that you do not, either you do not know enough English, or I'll give you an example. At one time, I also had difficulty saying pani. So I'll go to my old aunt. She was from a village. And instead of saying, "Chachi, मुझे पानी देना," I'll say, "Chachi, मुझे water दे दो." And Chachi ji will think, पता नहीं अजीब है ये बच्चा, कभी हिंदी बोलता है, कभी अंग्रेजी बोलता है। थोड़ा सा क्रैक है। या तो उसको ना तो इंग्लिश आती है ना हिंदी आती है। तो इस दिस इज so therefore it's very important that we rise above these primitive reflexes. Okay, Vidya, your hand was raised. I'm sorry, I just noticed.
No, I mean, like I had flight response. Like instead of saying Vidya, I used to say Sri Vidya because it will, and then in the attendance it will be there will not be Sri in that, and also so embarrassing it would be.
Good. So we'll go back to the main group and we will just summarize everything and
हेलो सर।
गोकुल राम, आपने वीडियो देखा? Did you see the videos?
Yes, sir.
गोकुल राम, आपने वीडियो देखा? गोकुल राम,
यस यस सर।
आपने वो वीडियो देखा?
सर रियल बोलूं तो आज टाइम नहीं मिल पाया, नहीं देख पाया।
कोई बात नहीं, होता है। कोई बात। शुभम विशु, हाँ चलिए। तो शुभम
Yes,
विशु, तो
yes.
आप नाउ यू गिव मी, यू समराइज ये सारी बातचीत का
Yeah,
एसेंस क्या है? व्हाट आर वी ट्राइंग टू
exactly.
से हियर?
Yeah. सर एक्चुअली जो अब तक हमने देखा जाना सर, इसका एक ये वी कैन से दैट इन अ वन लाइन हमें वॉलंटरी स्टैमरिंग जो है करनी है, जो कि हम इसको अवॉइड करते हैं। एंड एंड या एंड समटाइम्स क्या होता है कि हम अपने आप को उस सिचुएशन में नहीं डालते हैं जहां हम उनसे जो है भाग जाते हैं। तो हमें हर सिचुएशन में अपने आप को डालना है और वो एक्सपीरियंस लेना है हमें।
बिल्कुल, बहुत अच्छा बताया आपने, वेरी गुड। सो थैंक यू सो मच। नाउ लेट मी इनवाइट साहिल सलगांवकर। साहिल, कैन यू समराइज the lessons learned in today's exercise? What is the message here? Sahil.
So I got to know about a freeze, like how we get a freeze uh, when you need to speak in front of a crowd. So how can we? So it is a natural process.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sahil. Arham, what have you learned today?
जी, डॉक्टर विजय ने हमें काफी अच्छे से समझाया ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट है। तो ये सभी इंसानों का एक नेचुरल बिहेवियर है। जैसे वो बहुत ज्यादा किसी डर को देखते हैं, या तो वो फाइट करते हैं, या तो फ्लाइट करते हैं, या फिर वो फ्रीज हो जाते हैं। अगर इसको इस स्टैमरिंग के ऊपर रख कर देखें, तो जैसे अगर हम क्लास में मैं बैठा हुआ हूँ, अचानक से टीचर ने मुझसे कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया, तो मैं एकदम से फ्रीज हो जाऊंगा। और वहीं पे अगर मुझे कुछ आगे से क्वेश्चन पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, तो मैं वहाँ पे या तो मैं फ्लाइट कर सकता हूँ कि नहीं यार छोड़ दो, मैं हकला जाऊंगा, ये हो गया फ्लाइट। और फाइट ऐसे हो जाएगा कि मैं नहीं, फिर भी मुझे जो पूछना है वो मैं पूछ लूँ। तो ऐसे सही।
Right. बहुत अच्छा बताया, थैंक यू सो मच अरहम। मैं उसको समराइज कर देता हूँ एंड देन आई विल रिक्वेस्ट सोनम टू शेयर ए हिंदी समरी, short Hindi summary on these ideas, and Vidya to share a English summary in the long group. As everyone, as you all, I hope know that we are working only in one group, that long TOPG group. Short group हम बंद कर रहे हैं. We are closing it down. So in the long group, I'll request Sonam and Vidya to share a summary. Vidya in English, Sonam in Hindi. And before we close, I just want to summarize it once again. That over millions of years, human beings have evolved to use these three intuitive responses. These are our intuitions. We don't learn it after being born, but we are born with these instinctual reactions. That if we see a snake, if it is a big snake, very fast we run. If it is small snake, we pick up a stick and we try to fight it, kill it. Sometime the snake may be so big, or maybe we are so frightened that we simply freeze. We do not know what to do. We simply freeze. We don't do anything. We neither run nor fight. We simply freeze. So these are the three responses which traditionally we have utilized against any threat, any external threat. And unfortunately, we do the same thing even in stammering. In stammering, we are not fighting a snake. We are not fighting a tiger. We are not fighting a spider or a scorpion. There's only a word, and words are not meant to be fought. You don't fight a word. But this is what we have unfortunately learned. When there's a word to be said, and if we cannot say that word, and if we are frightened of that word, then we struggle. And when we struggle, we bring in excessive force. And that excessive force reflects on our face. So we start blinking, we start tightening, or we start jerking our hand. So that is the example of fighting the word, fighting the difficult word. So blocking is an example of fighting. I can easily say my name is Satyendra, but if I made up my mind to fight, because I think that this word is dangerous for me, then I'll say my name is Satyendra. I am fighting. But suppose the teacher says, "What's your name?" And I say, "My name is Anil." I don't say my name is Satyendra. So then that is flight. Flight matlab running away. I'm running away from my real name, and therefore I'm saying some other's name. And then you know what happens? मैं शैतानी करता हूं और अनिल पिटता है. गड़बड़ होता है क्योंकि I am using a wrong name. Other examples of flight, running away, is not saying the word or using a synonym or translating that word into something. मैं पानी नहीं बोल पा रहा हूं तो मैंने वाटर बोल दिया. मुझे बोलना है कि आई एम ए इंडियन सिटीजन, मैं बोलता हूं मैं भारत का नागरिक हूं क्योंकि मैं इंडिया नहीं बोल पा रहा हूं. तो ये सब एग्जाम्पल है फ्लाइट के, नॉट फाइट, फ्लाइट, रनिंग अवे. इतना डर गए उस वर्ड से कि हम भागे जा रहे हैं जान बचा के. और एक हाई लेवल अवॉइडेंस होता है जहां पे हम उस सिचुएशन को ही छोड़ के भाग जाते हैं. यानी जैसे पता लगा कि नेक्स्ट मंडे से प्रेजेंटेशन हो रहे, सबको प्रेजेंटेशन देना है, तो हम एक हफ्ते के लिए कॉलेज ही नहीं जाते. हम कहते हैं मेरी माता जी बीमार है, मैं उनकी सेवा कर रहा हूँ अस्पताल में, मैं कैसे आ सकता हूँ. और फिर हम जाते ही नहीं है कॉलेज. इसी तरह से अगर आपको मार्केट में आपको लगता है कि मेरा प्रोफेसर मुझे मिल जाएगा, तो आप मुंह फेर लेते हैं, रोड बदल देते हैं, किसी दुकान में घुस जाते हैं कि बोलना ना पड़े. ये सब अवॉइडेंस जो एग्जाम्पल है फ्लाइट का. और लास्ट है फ्रीज. when somebody says something and you just cannot respond and you just freeze. तो ये जो 3 instinctual reactions है, how to become free of that, how to give up these counterproductive responses, क्योंकि ultimately they are counterproductive. You struggle on your name, you change your name, you do not say anything at all these are counterproductive. They don't serve the purpose of communication at that point. So the lesson is this: you do more voluntary stammering so that you become comfortable in that moment, so that you become friends with that difficult word. Instead of thinking of stammering as an enemy, you befriend your enemy, you embrace your stammering, you make it friend, so that instinctual reactions don't start when you stammer. तो जब आप हकलाते हैं तो आपको लगता है कि मैं अपने दोस्त से बातें कर रहा हूँ, इसमें इसमें झगड़ने की क्या बात है? Why am I overreacting? So voluntary stammering is one thing which will ultimately change the relationship which you have with your stammering. So that's it. And last thing which I want to say is make videos. If you are not making videos, you are doing injustice to yourself. And after some time, we will also start removing inactive people. तो जो लोग वीडियो नहीं बना रहे हैं, मेरा उनसे विनम्र निवेदन है कि वो वीडियो बनाना शुरू करें, वरना 4-5-6 दिन के बाद जो है हम ऐसे लोगों को धीमे धीमे निकालना भी शुरू करेंगे, बिकॉज वी डोंट वांट यू टू वेस्ट योर टाइम इन द कंफर्ट जोन. So we'll keep on challenging you, pushing you. So make videos and make lot of videos. And if you are bored of making videos, at least start calling strangers on phone using techniques and share the call record. And second thing I want to share, which I've learned from Dr. Amit Bajaj, it's a very important lesson which I've learned from him. Earlier, I used to say, if you want to learn bouncing or prolongation, practice it non-stop. But Amit Bajaj once told me a very interesting thing. He said, closed-ended practice has got more chances to succeed. And by closed-ended practice, he meant not bouncing throughout the day, but just have a very finite goal that in the morning, I will make only one stranger call in which I will bounce only on one word. I'll just bounce on good morning. Good morning, sir. I saw your advertisement about a duplex house in Karachi. Can you please tell me the cost? And then you put the phone down. Bus. This 2-minute call in the morning is all the homework which you have to do on that day. Not bouncing throughout the day. Bouncing throughout the day will be very exhausting and emotionally very challenging. So same thing I want to say to you. Make just 2 stranger call and just use technique on 1 word or 2 word at the most. And share the call record. That's all. I'm not asking you to do, a lot more things. Just this much. That's all. And if you continue doing it, very soon you'll find that your attitude and your communication, everything will change. So that's it. I'll just take one feedback or question and then we'll wind up. So anybody, any question, any feedback, you can raise your hand. Okay, good. So we'll wind up. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night. Take care and keep on making videos and keep on smiling and keep on practicing.